Hi boys and girls, today we are going to do the summary for chapters 5 through 7 for how to eat fried worms. Let me share the screen. And first let's look at the question that we had done from yesterday. So describe what Joe said would happen when Billy ate the peppered worm. You filled out a Google form yesterday and Joe had said sneezing. If you remember from the text, sneezing would happen if Billy ate the peppered worm. Joe also said that Billy would get a stomach ache. Let's go back into the text and I can show you where we found these answers. So I'm going to pull up the text really quickly. If we go in there, we can see that it says that sneezing, and he says hot chew a lot, that sneezing would happen. It also says he would clutch his stomach, so that means that he would get a stomach ache. All right, let's take a look now at our vocabulary. Fume. So she'd come after us fuming and shouting threats, and suddenly the door of the boat closet would slam open, and out we'd roar our mini bikes in the blood red crashing helmets and white jumpsuits, our scarves out behind us. So if we look at this word, we can see that around the word, because remember, when we're figuring out the meaning of an unknown word, we're using context clues. We're using the words around the word fuming. So our word is fuming, and she'd come after us, shouting threats. So when somebody is shouting, they are usually what? Angry or irritated. So fume is to show irritation or anger. The synonyms, so words that also mean fume might be temper, storm, rant, explode, or other synonyms that go along with fume. All right, now let's go and let's talk about our summary for the chapter. Let me turn the slide. So the somebody in the chapter was Alan and Joe. And if you remember, they wanted to put pepper in the second worm. But Tom told Billy to think of fish. So he also said to fry it in cornmeal. Then Billy dreamed of riding the mini bike at school and at church. We don't have a finally for today, and sometimes that happens, so you can leave it blank or you can put an X by it. I'm going to go away from the slide for a second, but I will come back for you to write your summary. I want to go back into the text, and I want to show you where I got, because part of being a good reader is after reading and having to write a summary, we go back and we use our text to help us with our summaries. So if you can see here, it talks about how Joe and Alan want to put the pepper, but then down, let me clear it and let me scroll down. It doesn't let me, okay, do it at the same time. But then if we see it, we can see that Billy is just having trouble eating the second worm. And so the idea that Tom comes up with is to think of fish. And so he tells him, let me see where it is. Yep, it's in this next chapter. He says that one of the ideas Tom has is to roll the night crawler in cornmeal and fry it, and to think of it being like a trout, which is a type of fish. And so he can't stop thinking about worm, worm, worm. So Tom decides that if it's in cornmeal, maybe he would think of it being more like fish. So I'm going to go back, and later on in the chapter, we see that he thinks about being on the mini bike. He dreams of himself being on the mini bike with Tom and going to school and church. So I'm going to come back to the slide, and you can go ahead and pause your video to write your summary.